Welcome to the Talk Shop.
Yo, what's
Cool.
good, Chimdi?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Can't complain. Fresh haircut, you
Oh
know.
yeah, you too. Your
It's been a minute.
your head is shining. I knew.
Yeah, I mean, normally Amaka is not here, so she's the one that cuts my hair normally. But I'm in New York, so I'm like, I might as well go to my usual barber.
Okay.
So I haven't seen him in over a year or whatever since what
Since the pandemic, huh?
since the pandemic. So it's good to see him.
That's
Man. At least get a good beard cutting job done. Not my work,
that's
my handiwork.
that's proper. I did a little trim myself because I'm like, okay, we've got a superstar coming on the pod, and I'm gonna be on video.
Yeah,
She's gonna look good. I can't just be doing anyhow, you know. Like I didn't wear
yeah.
this shirt because of her. Like I'm going out after this, but like I want to look fresh. Lockdown just ended, so we're going out.
Yeah,
But
nice. But yeah, we have a guest on, a very special guest, Womiye, um, Ojo. We're gonna have you start, just introduce yourself, a little bit. We know her like most of the people, extraordinary people we know, we've known from way back. But she's doing many great things back home in Nigeria. So we wanted to have her on. So welcome, Womiye.
Hey, so can people see me?
yep,
Oh,
Yeah,
yep, they will
yes.
be able to see you.
perfect. Hi guys, good to be on here. Such a privilege. I'm so proud of what you guys have been doing, and I can't believe I am episode 65. It's kind of cool, 65. But thanks for inviting me here.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome. We're glad to have you. But yeah, Bernie, go ahead. You can take it on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. What like I was saying before we started. Like I don't know why we didn't think about this before because you are a very accomplished individual. You do many different things, and we'll get you to talk about those before we dive into the main topics. I think because you've got your own podcast. Um, why don't you plug that for a second? Let's talk about that because you're on episode 15, and that's a big deal.
Yep.
Yes, I think I started mine like a couple months before you guys started yours. And I'm on episode 15 and you guys are on 65. But my podcast, My Life and Yours, is just a platform. Honestly, I started the podcast for myself as a way of healing.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I feel like just God just laid it in my heart. Why don't you heal and get people on it with you so you can heal together? So it's literally just me talking about my experiences and things I have had to deal with and things I've had to see with my very own eyes and how I've been able to deal with them. Basically it. Um my first episode talks about how are we just all faking it or like are we like you know, like in this life, is it that everybody knows
Hmm.
what it is that they're set out to do, or are we all winging it? Because I don't know what I'm doing
Hmm.
half the time, but I'm still going on the grind.
Yeah.
That was like my
Uh,
first episode.
I will honestly say, from my point of view, it definitely is a winging job for the most part
I mean, I
for
think
everyone, at
so.
least for me, anyways. I mean,
I think
you,
so.
you have some guidance from people you've seen before and met before, and what you think is right and wrong, but generally, just winging it, man.
Really,
Winging
that
it,
was my first episode. It was called "Am I the Only One?"
and there's
Like,
nothing
am I,
wrong with
am
that.
I the only one? But yeah, that's everything has just been about
That's
my
an
day to
interesting
day
question.
experiences and I remember the feedback I got on that first episode. It was so encouraging because I had a lot of people say, "Oh my god, me too. Like I'm so lost, but I just have to appear like I have it all sorted out." And I'm like, "Okay, so I'm not the only one. Okay, I feel better now. Let's just all keep winging it, team." But yeah, ever since then, I haven't been as consistent as you guys. So well done, kudos. I know how hard it is to maintain this, and it's a two-man team, which is like well done, guys. Well done. Well done. But yeah, I have my podcast, and that's been fun. I have a lot of people
Thank
say,
you.
when is the next episode coming out? But yeah, I'm still here, winging it.
It
But
comes
yeah,
out when it needs to when it needs to come out.
as
That's
the
Whenever
spirit
you're ready,
leads. As the
there's
spirit
no
leads.
rush. Whenever you're ready.
But yeah,
exactly. So you brought up something interesting that I think we can lead into, because you said that, and and by the way, Jimmy and I don't talk about this all the time. In many ways, this podcast is some type of pseudo therapy. Just whatever we feel like we have to say, get it out, because for black men in particular, we just don't talk about stuff, right?
Yep.
So we don't put a limit on what it is we talk about, so that anyone who listens might be able to relate to what we're talking about, and can sort of, like you were talking about with your first episode.
Yeah,
Um,
relatable content.
but
I
you said
love
something
it.
interesting. You said that exactly. So you said it was your way of, like, it was a mechanism to help you to heal.
Hmm.
Heal from what?
Well, okay, I'm 32 right now. Yeah, but if I
You
start
didn't have to say
laying,
your age.
oh no, I'm very look. I'm not one of them. Like I'm very fine. I'm an open book, literally. Like anything you want, just ask. But my 32 years of experience, when I talk to people that are 50, 60, and I lay my experiences out, and I'm like, this is all I've been through. They're like, why? Like I don't. What's happening? Should we go pray? It's a lot. A lot
Mhm,
has happened on my 32 years on earth. I don't understand why, but I know there's a reason. Like, so last week, for
mhm,
example, I went on a retreat, and I just felt the need to share past the podcast now. Just share maybe in a visual way so people can see who it is that's talking. Like how you guys have, you guys are very smart. You guys have this visual audio podcasting running. I should have done that, but no, I'm too lazy. But yeah, I feel like I should actually create like a visual platform where I am sharing my stories one on one. Like we went to school together, um,
mhm,
but like half the time in Loyola, for example, I spent half of my time in Loyola crying. A lot of people didn't know that. I think like I told only
mhm,
maybe E one time and Yimi. Even Ketchy didn't know, and Ketchy's my best friend.
mhm,
By the time I was 11, I was traumatized beyond my years. I shouldn't have had to go through all the things I went through at 11. And sadly, it didn't end at 11. It continued on till I was 18, different experiences with men, with women, with sucky human beings that they're just evil and are just demons, but a lot. And I, like the topic of today, one of the major things which I always share is that when I was 6, so my father's a retired diplomat, so we moved around a lot. Before Loyola, we had been
mhm,
posted to 3 countries already. Now that's a lot, making new friends all the time. So that's
mhm.
why when we got to Loyola, I was already very friendly because I was kind of used to making new friends. However, the
Makes
down
sense.
the downside of that is well, now it's a downside. My dad went with his nephew, who is my cousin, and he was what 12, 15 years older than I was. And at the time, I thought he was my brother, but I remember very clearly when I was like
Mhm.
6 and a half, we used to bathe together. And it's my parents thinking, this is an older guy, so bathe for this child because I was a child, not knowing that he was sick in the head. So this is from age 6 to age 9 and a half, being raped by my so-called cousin brother for that duration, almost every single day. So one time when I came to the realization of what I actually went through, I was like, "Are you telling me that I was raped as a kid over 100 times?" Like consistently. You know when something happens and then you expect it to keep on happening. Like I thought it was normal. Like I actually thought it was normal. So one time I saw a story and this girl said, it was happening to her, and so she went for a sleepover, and then she tapped her friend and was like, "When is daddy coming over?" That's the kind of thing that I was like. It was like I'm on a sleepover and I'm like, "So when is cousin coming over? It's not happening today? No, okay." So all this happening and having to process everything. I didn't process it until I was 28.
Mhm.
I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my sister until I was 28. And that was what I was healing from. Because at 28, I had suicidal ideation. I was very suicidal. Very, very. One attempt landed me in the hospital. And it was at 28 that all this started manifesting because it just came crashing. It just everything just came crashing. I reached out to my sister. I told my sister after I was released from the hospital, and she confronted him, and he denied it, and I was very happy. I was like, phew, okay, maybe it was just like a nightmare. But then he came back apologizing. This should not have happened between blood. It was wrong. So I think the his confirmation just I just crashed, mentally crashed. Like, wow, this actually happened for 3.5 years. Wow, oh my god. Um, but yes,
Was you said
essentially,
your cousin, quote unquote cousin, like apologized?
yes.
Is
He sent an
or
email to
who?
my sister.
Okay.
Yeah, after he denied it, then he sent another email saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was scared to admit." I still remember the. Oof, it's so cringy. Because like I'm sorry, it shouldn't have happened between blood. So this is me in Loyola having to deal with all the pressure of like academic pressure and socials pressure. Everyone like trying to look good, trying to be smart, and I'm juggling with this in like three
Hmm.
quarters of my mind every day, like crying and trying to understand how to have a boyfriend or how to be on merits rule or honor roll.
Well, well, I'm sorry. Just I just feel I have to say something. That is, I, I don't even know how to feel at this moment. I like you said, I didn't know about any of this.
Hmm.
It's like just for me hearing is distressing. Like you can't see my eyes, which is good, but like
I'm sorry.
so I've gone through that like like from 6, and then you held that alone to your 28, pretty much. Kudos to you, but that's very scary. I mean, and to me right now, the reason why I'm thinking about it is because of
Your
my
daughter,
daughter,
yeah.
and it's like this can actually happen to somebody, and and you have your reasons for not saying anything to your parents. I know there probably many reasons why you didn't say anything, but it's so scary. I again, I didn't know any of this. I didn't even know that the reason why you do some of the things you do was because of this. I guess Bernie knows and has known, but honestly, I didn't. I had no clue. I'll be honest with you. I had no clue what the real reason was, or if there was any personal reason why you were doing some of the things you did or you do currently. So I don't even
Sorry.
I don't even know what to say. That's why I felt I had to say something. No, there's nothing to like. I feel sorry. I don't even know how to like feel about the situation. But I appreciated that you're actually able to talk about it. It's a very important thing to talk about, and I just want to say thank you. Sorry, all the things under the
No,
sun.
no, thank you.
If I thought, if I it just confirms to me how I've always known that you and Ketchy and your group of friends were always a very strong group of women in general. This makes it live even crazier to me what kind of resilience you all have. So kudos. But sorry, keep going. I'm
No,
sorry to
no, thank you.
interrupt
But
you.
like you rightly said, like your daughter, I feel like as an adult now, I definitely want to have children. And this will never, by God's grace, happen to my children. And I hope will never happen to any of our children.
Hmm.
And that's why I do what I do. So I I remember always having this fear of people looking at me and saying, "Oh, that's the girl that got raped when she was 6." I didn't want to be tagged as that, so I ran away from that. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I started an NGO, but I started it under the facade
Hmm.
of helping internally displaced persons. So I'm in the international development field.
Hmm.
So working in that space of conflict analysis and resolution, that gave me a good reason to start, this NGO for internally displaced persons. So IDPs are people that are displaced in their own
Hmm.
nation from one state to another, but within the country. And refugees are the ones that have to leave their country. So obviously, when Boko Haram attacks
Right.
started, I felt like I should do something. But I was really concerned about the women, really concerned about the women. So
Hmm.
when I visited the camps, for example, one of the things that I noticed off the bat was that there were so many pregnant women. Why? Half, what am I saying, half? Out of 10, at least 8 of them were pregnant. And I found out later that the camp head does favors. If I'm going to give you food, you have to sleep with me, and that was it. If you want to provide for your children,
What?
oh yes, those are the
Fucking
kind
hell.
of horror stories that happens in refugee camps, in IDP camps. Unfortunately, like working at the UN exposed me to so much stuff, and I found out that it was even UN peacekeepers that were doing these things and propagating violence against women and gender-based violence.
Wow.
It was so bad, especially in 94 during the Rwandan genocide. It was so bad. But I started the NGO as that. And then later on, I think I got more comfortable in speaking and sharing my story. So I changed the whole face of my NGO. And I'm like, you know what? We are here to help boys and girls that have been victims of sexual
Hmm.
abuse. We want them to speak out. Because I hated it. And I still hate it when I hear things like, why'd you keep quiet? Why are you just speaking now? What? Why wouldn't I keep quiet? Were you there when I was getting raped? Were you
Hmm.
there? Because this person shut my mouth, literally physically handicaps me, and would tell me, if you tell
Hmm.
anybody, I will kill your parents. I will kill you. You don't know the kind of experience that a victim has during this rape, I wouldn't say session, but this incident. You don't know. You're not there. We're
Hmm.
not even talking about the PTSD, the post traumatic stress. No, during the experience itself, are you there? If it was you, would you be able to handle it? So when people say things like, "Why didn't you say anything?" It's a lie. What? And then they shame me, or they make victims feel bad. I think it's just one of the most
Hmm.
inhumane things that people can do. Like, and there's so many cases. So now, like in with my NGO, when we go to places, we run into so many challenges, from people not wanting to speak out to people speaking out and then being shamed, being facing backlash, facing high profile defamation
Blamed even.
lawsuits, like as we saw with the case of like the Banja, the person that, so like there's so many things, so many challenges. But sorry, I think I even lost track of the question that you asked me, Bernie. But yeah, that's what I started
No,
with my
no,
NGO.
no. That's very important. I wanted to ask you a sort of another question around that, because you said that your incidents, and subsequent, attacks or assaults. I don't know what the official term is, but those incidents happened when you were 6, and at least 100 times, and forcefully restrained and all that. I guess my question is, because you were saying that some people say, why are you only speaking out now, and my head goes, what do you expect a 6-year old to do? Because how did you get to the point that you processed that what happened to you was effectively wrong? Because a 6-year old might understand, I'm being restrained and this is weird, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But they're kids are told what's right and
Right.
what's wrong, right? So not that some people don't know that it's wrong, it's like they may not understand and can be able to comprehend and process even the degree to how wrong it was. Because some people might think, well, this is just our quote unquote culture, it's just what happens, so whatever. How did you get to the point where it it hit you that, okay, this was fucked up, and then to go, I understand how this is affecting, like,
Yeah.
like you said, you had some issues. You had to come to a point where you went, actually, this might have been the not the cause, but the beginnings of what these issues were. How did you? So it's a convoluted question, but
Yeah.
maybe we can piece something together from that, like how you got to that point of
Um,
realization.
it's a good question. I've thought about it personally. I think when it was happening, when it was happening, I knew it was wrong because it was happening at night. Why was he always holding me down? Why was he always forcefully silencing me? I knew it was wrong.
Hmm.
At the time, I knew that this should not be happening. But at the same time, he's threatening me.
Hmm.
So it's like you said, like I'm 6, I'm 7, I'm 8, I'm growing, I'm watching movies, I'm seeing that this should not be happening with children. I'm seeing that this is only like an adult thing when they're in love. I'm a Christian. I'm going to church. They're talking
Hmm.
about sex, and I'm like, wait, what is this? And it's not like as a Christian I'm hearing these things fully explained or expatiated. I'm hearing it in a very PG manner. Like, no, don't kiss a boy. If you kiss a boy, you get pregnant. And I'm like, okay, I've kind of done more than that, but I haven't got. But like, I don't get it. So I know that during that whole ordeal, I remembered it. I knew it was wrong, but it was fear that silenced me. But when I knew that, okay, enough is enough. So we were in Switzerland at the time. My dad was posted to Switzerland, one of the most peaceful countries in the world. um, but then he left Switzerland and went to Arizona. And then we left Switzerland and went to Baltimore. When we were in Baltimore, he came to Baltimore. So this guy is thinking, okay, let's go back to, let's go back. And just,
How old were you at this
I
time?
was 10. I was 10, right before Loyola, because I
Okay.
came straight from there to Loyola. And I remember he came and again, just like we never left the script, just came to my room. But then I had my voice. I'm 10 and I'm like, this is wrong. This should definitely not happen. And I'm like, stop. And he just got up and left. And I just let out this deep sigh, like, so this is not, for people listening, I just want you to understand that this was not like he's touching my chest because at the time I had no breast. Like I was 6, 7, I don't have anything. He's touching my chest. He is like full on penetration coming. I remember everything to the T, everything. Not each incident, but I do remember, clearly how the whole thing happened. But yes, to answer the question, I knew during that whole ordeal, I knew that it was wrong. I knew it should not be happening. I was just afraid to talk, to speak out.
Like that's so scary. Like physically scary. The damage he could have done
Oh,
to you as a
sadly,
6-year-old.
sadly, I don't know if you guys remember, but I had one of the most painful periods during Loyola. Like I had to be worked.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. But
Yes.
you think that was it had a
Oh no,
reason? There was a
I
part of it.
do think so because I got my period when I was 9. Was very early. I was 8.5 when I started my period. You should not start your period at 8.5. I remember my mom actually she was concerned. She was like, what? Why are you, what's happening? And I'm like, so I was scared. I thought that was what pregnancy was. And I was like, am I pregnant? What's happening?
Yeah.
Um, but then he was able to calculate it, know when I was on my period, knew when I'm not on my period. It was just sick. It was just, the whole thing was just sick. Um,
Mm.
but
Wow.
but yeah, even afterwards, having to deal with so many things with my reproductive system, it's a lot because those kind of things, I believe, I spoke with my OBGYN later on. Hormonal imbalance is caused by so many things,
Yeah.
and we don't know. Like for me, I don't know why I had fibroids or cysts because I did have, and I had my myomectomy. Horrible ordeal. um and the mental repercussions, the the
Hmm.
mental effects of that, from repressing the memory to feeling senses of just lack of self worth. And in my mind, I kept on telling myself I was damaged because I was never a virgin, and I'm not really worth it. And then having to hate my body and cut myself, it was a whole thing. So physical and mental effects were definitely strong. Are we
Wow.
okay?
That's it's still amazing me so much. It's
Yeah.
okay. Well, again, thank you for sharing. Like for real, it's incredible that you can and you're okay doing that now because you know why you have to do that now. If we can move up a little bit, you know, there's a few things I'm curious about, and we don't have to talk about it. I'm just for people to know how to. That's not my place to make people know how to deal with it or whatever. But I'm just, because I know you've dated people since in secondary school and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm sure that was hard.
Hmm.
For you as a person, it probably again, you said you didn't tell anyone, so I'm sure you didn't tell any of your boyfriends that you had this issue, and I don't know how it affected your relationships. But also dealing. I'm sure you've met this person, this cousin, after that when you've even been grown up before you told anyone again. How did those interactions go? Did you and have you ever considered actually taking legal or whatever action against this person? Because I'll be honest with you, you said he was what, 15 years old or 15 years older?
Older.
15 years old. Which one was
15
it?
years older.
Older. So this man was in his 20s, 21, college years,
Full grown
college
man.
years. So this man should go to jail. That's my point. My point is something should happen to him. I don't care how long it's been. It just seems like he shouldn't be living a normal life, and I don't want to know what he's doing right now, but yeah, something. It's just, to me right now, all I'm thinking about is this person needs to be found and dismembered in some way. And
Wow.
no, I'm honest with you, because
No, no,
you,
I'm
you can't
I'm
you,
with
you
you. I
can't see my
follow.
eyes. I'm purposely trying to stay behind the screen because I don't know how to feel. I, right now is one of the most scary things in my mind once I became a dad. Even before then, but now it's even more from me, and it's like, and then knowing somebody that I've known for so long and not knowing this about is scary for me. So I'm just, my mind is going all over the place. um, so forgive me if I say anything out of turn, but I really, that man should be dead in my opinion.
So I guess the question is, how does it affect your, like Chimdi was saying, how does it affect your relationships with boyfriends and with men in general? Like, how did
Mm.
it affect you in that
So,
sense?
okay, first of all, I have not seen him since. I have not seen him. I think if I okay, right now I'm in a different place. This time 2 years ago, if I had met him, I would probably have shot him because when I was in Florida, I actively, after he sent that email, I got so scared. I went to the gun range, the shooting range, to learn how to shoot, just in case. I know. I just
Oh,
I
okay.
was I, I was all my senses were so heightened. Defensive senses were heightened. Like this is not going to happen again. I got so scared. I remember being so scared. I lost so much weight. I wasn't eating. I thank God for my support system. Like my sister, Kechi Yimi, they called me every single day to check on me. That's how they knew I was in the hospital. That's actually how they found out. Um, my relationships. First of all, God being in my life. I can never. I don't know who to. I don't know who else I can say was responsible for how I handled this, honestly, because apart from the fact that we used to move around and I had to learn at an early age how to communicate with people and make new friends, at the same time, I feel like there was just a peace, like like the Holy Spirit was just in my mind and in my heart. So like in school, I had a boyfriend.
Hmm.
I never told him, but I think I think I think because he was very nice to me. He was very nice to me. He was kind and he would give me things. Um, I was never physical with anybody. Well, I did make out with my boyfriend, but I was never intimate.
Fair.
Well, yeah, as the classic fan.
We know.
Yeah, yeah. But he was very nice to me. I remember that, and I remember also going through a time of trying to explain. Okay, so one thing I didn't say was that while this was happening at home, in school, something was also happening. So I no
The
no
school,
no
the
no
school
no
that we
not
all went
literal.
to.
That's not literal. That's
You're
not
not
literal.
gonna do this
No
to
no no
me.
no.
You're not
They're
gonna.
not
Okay,
not
okay,
literal.
cool,
Thankfully,
okay,
thankfully. So,
all right. Because that one I can find the person and kill the person. So
thankfully.
Oh
So when it
man.
comes to abuse
Oh man.
and sexual assault, there is the adult and child molestation, but there's also something called child on child abuse and molestation, and it's mainly when the
Hmm.
perpetrator, the child perpetrator, is usually a victim of abuse, him or herself. So in this case,
Hmm.
I was a victim again. And this was a girl. And it's funny because people would say, we're just kids, we're just playing around. No, this was her coming and telling me that things were happening in her home and she wanted to be better. And I was like, what?
I don't get it. I am thoroughly confused. That she wanted things to
She
be
She
wanted to do
better
things
and
better, so she wanted to
therefore.
try it on
exactly.
you.
She wanted to practice, basically. She's like,
Okay.
yeah, she wanted to
Oh,
practice.
oh, oh,
And
oh,
I'm
I
like,
understand. Okay.
No. So this is me now being older and trying to think, am I supposed to be with boys or girls? Like what am I supposed to follow here? Because I don't really get it. I don't understand. So honestly, being just having God in my life, honestly, has led me to where, because I had multiple opportunities of being a hoe.
Mhm.
I had multiple opportunities of just, being out there and not giving a damn. And but I wasn't intimate with anybody until like my very, very late 20s, almost 30. And I was scared. I was actually scared. Like, kissing was fun, playing around was fun, but the acts, I remember my OBGYN, because as a woman, you have to go for your pap smears, and you have to be checked down there.
Mm.
I couldn't do any of that. I
Mhm.
couldn't do it. Like, even having fibroids, when I had fibroids, having to, take it out, there were different options, but I couldn't do any of the other options. I had to have surgery because we
Surgery.
couldn't go the other routes. We couldn't. Okay, so one of the solutions, for example, was you could try this sort of birth control where they insert something, and that should help reduce the release of progesterone. I couldn't do that. I was so scared. Like, I was so scared. Um, so that definitely took a toll on relationships. I had one guy that liked me and I liked,
Mhm.
flat out telling me that I can't date you if we're not going to be intimate. And okay, so first of all, as a Christian, I was like, I don't want. But also, my mind, I didn't want either. Like, my mind was like, no, we can't. Let's not. No, not now. We cannot. So it definitely took a toll on my relationships. Trust. I trust nobody till tomorrow. I don't trust anybody. I don't, and I can't.
Mhm.
I will not, because I boy, girl, man, I don't trust anybody, and I'm very grateful for that effect. I
Mhm.
don't. I'm not even gonna go to therapy for that. Nope. I'm fine, because even the people that I have dated have been very interesting demons from different departments. I'm not even gonna be sad. Um,
Mhm.
but it's definitely
Right.
affected my relationships with people, and I'm grateful that I had to travel and meet new people, and I'm grateful that I developed that skill very early, because I feel like if I didn't have that skill, I would definitely be a hermit. I would not talk to anybody. I would not interact with anybody. Like, no, I wouldn't.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful for having that skill. I'm grateful for having God in my life. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, you're right. Because I mean, again, I didn't know any of this, and if I were to say anything, you are the most sociable, one of the most sociable people I know. In terms of you can meet anyone and make friends with them easily and talk to them for hours easily without any issues. That's one thing. So to be that kind of person, despite everything, you're right. It to me is almost miraculous, and it's a testament to your support systems, to your own strength
Mhm.
and belief as a person. Um, it's incredible, honestly. I'm not going to push too much on the other incident you spoke about because I don't know if I want to know. Um, but I'm glad that that also is. I mean, I hope that person is okay too, because I don't know if you're still in contact with the person
Oh
and
yeah,
if the person got over all those things that were going on to her also.
he's fine.
Um, but yeah, it's that's traumatic. Again, it's not just one, but two major periods, instances, and to still be the person you are is something else. So
I will say something
I don't know,
though.
man.
I
You know what? You know what makes this like complex? Oh,
Oh,
no,
oh,
sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay, I will
Go
say
ahead.
one thing. For you guys and for everyone listening, you know that thing that they say, the happiest people are often the saddest. Have you seen that? That is
Hmm.
that's the
Yeah.
truthiest truth I have ever seen. If you guys have people in your
Wow.
life that appear to be happy, one skill that I know that I have is I'm 100% able and capable of masking my true feelings. You will never know how I feel inside because I got used to that from 6 years old.
Mm.
So I would go through this ordeal, but in the morning I go to school and I'm smiling with everybody. When I told my parents, that was the first thing my mom said. My mom was like, "But Womiye, you were the happiest child." And I'm like, "No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I I wasn't. I was masking my feelings." A lot of us do that. A lot of us. When I came out and I shared my story, out of 10 of my friends, 4 of them
Mm.
came, and 4 of the happiest people, boys and girls that I know, said, "Yes, this happened to me, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not going to rush you because everyone's healing journey is different. This could be your friend, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad. You don't know why people do the things that they do. You don't know why people behave the way that they do, but there is definitely a reason. There is definitely a source. So when I see people act irrationally, I'm not quick to judge because honestly, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if it's a today thing or if this happened since.
Hmm.
I'm not responsible for your actions, but at the same time, I'm not going to be dismissive or rude. I'm still going to try and, like, have some empathy and try to be kind and try to be nice. So I guess the message is no matter where
Hmm.
you are, no matter who you're interacting with, just be kind because you do not know. I thank God for being in Loyola. I thank God for being with the people that I was around. Because if I was around people that were negative, I would have definitely been gone out of off to myself since, honestly. But yeah, so that's why, like, my NGO, we make sure we go to different schools. We make sure we talk to boys and girls, letting them know that don't be scared. This is a safe space. Speak out now. And we don't just go to boys and girls. Like, we also go to, like, communities and speak with older people because it manifests in so many ways that we're not even aware of. Subconsciously, consciously, the effects of abuse is so underrated. It's so. But yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to say. I'm sorry, Bernie. Go on.
So no, no, no. That's important. I was gonna say, honestly, like, I was in Loyola for 3 years, and like I know we're in different classes, but I all I remember is you laughing a lot, and I remember every time like we're around you, it was like happy fun times, and but like you said, sometimes the happiest people are the saddest, and it's it the message that you said just at the end is very important, right? Because sometimes we just dismiss people as, oh, she's crazy, you know but like take a step back and think, like, maybe this person is not suffering from anything, but like even if there's a 1% chance that someone is suffering from something, maybe try
Maybe.
not to be mean. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's an important message. But you mentioned, you guys, your NGO a couple times, and you go into the community. Your NGO is the Imani Foundation,
Money help.
if I got that right. Tell us a little bit about that specifically, and what lessons you're going to the community and teaching
So we
people.
started in 2015, but we were registered in Nigeria in 2018, February of 2018. And that registration took place because I had come to full terms with who I was, what my mission here is, what I'm supposed to do. And I just got comfortable with myself in 2018. So we got registered in 2018. Um, so we go to different communities and we started with public schools. When we go there, we talk to them about consent because it's important that they know, not that they're giving consent, no,
Hmm.
but it's important that they know that when they become 18 or 21, no matter where they are in the world, it's their body. Our theme is always my body, my rules. You cannot come and dictate what you're going to do to me. No. Who are you? You cannot. So we always go there with different mantras, with different things that they repeat over and over and over again. My body, my rules. I teach them. You cannot touch me where, you cannot touch me
Mm-hmm.
here, you cannot touch me there. It's important that this information gets soaked right now. And for boys, the same thing. You cannot touch me. You cannot, because boys, when, okay, if I get a boy and a girl, I will pay more attention to the boy. I pay a lot of attention to both of them, but I am heavily concerned about the boy because, first of all, it is
Mm-hmm.
very hard for a boy to come and admit that he is being molested. Like, if I have, it's so painful the stories that I hear time and time again. And it's like I'm hearing my story over and over again. So I'm very happy when I go to places and they come out and they say, this is what's happening to me. That's what happened to me. So what we do is we try to inform their parents. It's interesting to note that telling parents sometimes doesn't change anything because here the parents do not
Mm-hmm.
want to be shamed. If it's the uncle or the auntie, it's definitely from the mother or the father's side. They don't want to hear it. They will deny it. We had a case.
Mm.
This is about to become a little bit graphic in my description. We had a case of an 11-year-old who was being raped by her uncle only on her periods. When she's on her period is when her uncle would come. Isn't that jazz? I'm sorry. Like I was like, eh?
This nigga's sick, yo.
And this was in
This
Abuja.
nigga's sick, yo.
It's like
What
he's
the
looking for
hell?
some sort of lubrication or something. Something's definitely off. And I remember involving the police. The mother went. The mother went.
Chimdi, sorry, I don't mean to laugh at this.
I
Like,
understand.
this is not funny
It definitely
I'm
whatsoever.
sorry,
was.
my
Like,
expressions. I can't
oh
hold my
man,
expressions. I'm sorry.
this is a coping mechanism right
The
now. This is
mother
this
went
is oh
bonkers,
man, that's terrible.
and she was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe my brother did this to my daughter." Blah 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 blah. The next session we had, she was a changed person. She was like, "This did not happen. No, no, it didn't happen." And like, we came with police. We had to go back without the girl, without the uncle. Why? Because the mother felt this is my brother.
Hmm.
First of all, we've had the family meeting. My brother says he's sorry, so you cannot arrest him. Okay, the girl, can we do something with your child? Your child is still going to be with that environment. Your child is still like she's still in danger. No, we had no access. Like we were banned. So yes, with parents, sometimes it doesn't help. Thankfully, we have a lot of partners. So there's the Mirabel Center, for example, where you can actually take the children if the mothers are, the parents are and the guardians are okay with it, and if we hand the cases over to all these our partners, and we say, okay, please take care of them, and they do their job. So what we do is to bring them out, to encourage them to speak out, and then we hand them over. So we have different cases, we color coded them orange to red, and then as red
Mm-hmm.
implies, that's like the alerts cases, like something has to be done now. We had a case of a lady who very different from our abuse case, but she came and she said that her husband was raping her in the house. A lot of people don't believe that husbands can rape their wives, and I don't understand why you don't understand. She's still a human being. She's not your property.
Isn't it
Where?
isn't it law? Like in some parts of Nigeria, like isn't it law that like you can't be
Yes,
like I
that
was
you
reading this
can't rape.
somewhere like there was someone that did a whole thread on Twitter like 365 days of
Yes,
laws that actually
yes,
enshrine sexual assault, and I don't want to say what state because I might get it wrong, but like
yes.
aren't there states where it literally says a husband cannot be
You're very
like
right, especially in the
accused of
northern
raping their
parts.
wife
You
or something?
cannot, like, if your husband says, "I want you now," yes, it's a now thing. You have to. You are like he's entitled because he owns you. So as he's marrying you, you are his property. You're like cattle. So if
Hmm.
he wants it, he gets it. So having facing cultural barriers, religious barriers, just simple inhumane barriers, it's been challenging. So we always have to find ways of ensuring that the child is safe because that's our concern. We don't care about your family, like whatever. The child, are you safe? This is not going to happen again, right? So we try to work with them to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And then some of the cases where they're grown, We
Hmm.
try to, we just have like casual hangouts where we all come, like an AA thing, but it's not A. It's not like an anonymous. Everyone just knows each other. So we have like a community now where people come
Hmm.
together and then we have fun and we go out and then we have drinks. Basically, I want to be someone that I didn't have as a child. That's my goal. I would have loved it if someone came to my school and said,
Hmm.
"Are you okay? Is everything fine at home?" My life would have changed because at as a child I would have realized that, okay, I don't have to be scared. If this person is saying that he will kill me, he cannot kill me. Like he can't. He literally cannot. Chimdi asked something. Did I
Hmm.
ever consider taking legal action? I couldn't take legal action because at the time when all this came crashing, I was in Florida. I couldn't take legal action in Florida because the incidents happened in Switzerland. So I did speak with a lawyer at the time because I was very scared, and he was like, he was so angry. He was like, "Snap! I wish it was here. When you were in Baltimore, I wish it was here." I was like, "No, the one in Baltimore didn't happen because I said no." And he was like, "Oh my god, I wish it happened here." Uh, but yeah, I couldn't take legal action because it happened in Switzerland. And where is he now? He's living his life. Personally, I've forgiven him. I want to put it out there that I have forgiven him. It took me going to Rwanda and speaking with the victims of genocide and sexual and rape during the genocide for me to understand the power of forgiveness, but I have forgiven him. So also doing our outreaches for the older folk, we do talk to them about the power of forgiveness because you're releasing him or her, but you're also empowering yourself. There's a greatness that comes with forgiving people that have hurt you deeply. I know
That's
it
difficult.
is.
That's it's tough, man. I can't do it. I
You can
can't do
do
it.
it, Chimdi.
But
But yeah,
that's in honesty, that's very good. It's very very well rounded. I mean, from something that you're doing out of your heart, it's very comprehensive. Obviously, you figured out ways to make it um actually effective, so it makes sense that you would do that. But yeah, kudos for that, man. Honestly, I don't I don't know how much more compliments to give in terms of what I want to say because it's very impressive. Um, one question I have just before I forget: what is the? You say you started at public schools, but generally, like the demographic of the people you're talking about, like the woman that you said refused. Do you find any specific, like so far, any like is it mostly poorer people, or is it a big spread of people that are well-to-do, normal people, and big
it is a
spread?
spread. It is a spread. The reason why we're finding people in public schools who are poor is because we are going to those communities. But at the same time, like my friends that I said, they're from very well-to-do homes. Like I'm from an okay home, and look at what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
But the reason why
I
we
mean,
go
I
there,
asked because I mean, are you going to schools like other schools, or are you just starting in public schools because they will generally give you access? Like, have you like done
exactly.
this in like Loyola? Have you done this in other schools?
It's because of access. It's mainly because of access. It's easier to get to public schools because once you go to a local government, they give you access to like 10 schools at once. So you know that, okay, let's plan it out. We go here, 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 here. But or you can just walk in, honestly. Just walk in and talk to the principal. But we haven't gone to private schools yet. No, we haven't. I do want to, but then the pandemic happened, and yeah, that just created a whole different uh nature
Yeah, I mean, it's not a I don't know, I don't want to say it in such a way that sounds some type of way, but like I would imagine you would even have more backlash and more pushback from families that are supposedly wealthy and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see how what the cases are like in kids in private school and how those get resolved. Do you know what
I
I'm saying?
really want
So,
to do this in
but
Loyola.
either way,
Yeah, I would love to go to Loyola and do this.
I mean, again, I don't think there's any. if there's anywhere you want to start, or you could start probably easier than anywhere else in private school like realm, that's probably the first place you can and will go to. I'm
Yeah,
sure you. It. I don't think it'll be that hard to do that.
yeah.
But hey, I mean, you never know. Things may be different now. You know.
I wonder though, like in and I mean maybe you can speak to this. I think part of the problem of speaking out, as you said, like one of the things that you said earlier was, you know, I am a Christian and suffering from the knowledge that I guess technically I'm no longer a virgin, that type of thing. How much would you say that you can, when you come across in Imani, the stigma of, the religious stigma, let me say, and how much does that impact the kids that you deal with? Because I can imagine going to schools and they're like, nah,
Oh,
we don't address this. We just talk about
oh.
abstinence and we keep it moving. Like how much does that impact
Well,
the
first of
work
all,
that you're
when
trying to
you
do with
even
these kids?
tell anybody, oh, we're going to a primary school and we talk about consent, they're like, eh? Why? Like, why? And one of our campaigns last year, especially during the pandemic, was making sure that we talk to everybody about consent, especially because of how, the pandemic, which
Hmm.
has been termed the rape and assault during the pandemic, has been termed the shadow pandemic because it caused like a whole different nature of abuse. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, off the bat, when you say you're going to a secondary school, I mean going to a primary school and you're going to talk about consent, they're like, "You want to talk about rape? You want to talk about sex? Sex, hey." Just that word sex is like taboo. I'm like, excuse me, what is happening? You're married. You can't tell me you're not having sex. Start educating your children now. My mom still has regrets. She's like, one time she actually wanted to come and talk to us about it, but that she didn't, and that she knows that it was the Holy Spirit telling her to, but she just didn't, and now she regrets it. And I'm like, it's fine, it's okay. But the fact that I'm going to these schools and adults are the ones saying, no, Nigeria, we have a really long way to go, man. We really do. We really, really do. Because the people that appreciate it more,
I mean, let's not.
let's not enter Nigeria talk.
I think no, it's not. It's a Nigeria talk, but I think in general the main thing is there's more religion than anything, because there's places in the states that will still give you pushback on things like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
On a religious base. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Nigeria is probably probably one of the most difficult places to broker these kind of
yeah. In
talks
Abuja, it was
and to
very
get
hard.
those kind of things into, like you said, yeah, I can imagine. I mean, and again, yeah, you're right. Some parents will say, "Why are you coming to my 6, 7, 8 year old kid to talk about this when I haven't talked to them about it?" But you're never going to talk to them about it, so somebody might as well. You know what I'm saying? So,
I think even the
but yeah,
education that
that's
we had,
that's incredible.
we had some sort of sex talk, boy child, girl child,
Some bullshit.
boy child, girl child education that was very just not it at all. I'm sorry, nobody. I wasn't educated. No, I wasn't. But I remember
No,
in
no,
Abuja, it was very, very hard. It was harder because of the religion there and the culture and the fact that a whole senator was pushing for 13-year-olds to get married. That was hard. So, but working
mm,
in the southern part, like here in Lagos and Oshobo, it's been way easier accessing schools. And I actually like it when I go and I meet a female principal because she's always very open and more accepting of this
yeah,
kind of education. But yeah, there's certainly pushback
yeah,
in here.
definitely.
Yeah.
I can imagine. But yeah, everyone. We're talking about the Imani Help Foundation. So if you want to check them out, they're in on Instagram. I guess you are headquartered wherever you are.
Yeah.
So I guess, and that's in Lagos.
Yeah.
So if you have any cases or you have any situations where you need help with this kind of thing, she's the person to go
Or
to.
if there's a school,
She
if you
also
need any
has, like
help,
we've said.
school.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, if there's like a school, like if you want me or you want Imani to come talk to you or your children or Your peers will definitely go. Everything that we talk about is very age appropriate. We're not telling them out like, outright, don't have sex. No, we're using very child friendly language to make them understand that some things are
Hmm.
acceptable and some things are not acceptable. Something as simple as, when our uncles, when we were younger, will come and say, come and sit on my laps. No, no,
Yeah, no,
no. And it's
none
something
of
that we're
that.
used to. We're
None
used
of
to
that.
it.
We, Amaka and I already said none of that's happening in my house. No, I'm
It
not.
shouldn't.
You're not inviting someone to come and sit on my lap, greet
Hmm.
you, maybe shake your hand, give you a hug, and ball out to your room. Nobody is sitting on anybody's lap. I beg,
Thank
nah,
you.
nah,
Thank you.
it's not gonna
Hmm.
happen.
Hmm. On that, that's a good lesson for parents to learn. Um, I'm curious before we go because we got a couple minutes left. Is there's I think whenever a group gets blamed, right, for something, the blamed group reacts. Like we see this with Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, right? There's always like the reaction, and in Nigeria, one of the things that you see on social media is this "not all men" thing. And I know in your organization you talk about assault from the context of both boys and girls, men and women, everyone, but specifically in the context of the patriarchal society that doesn't help women enough, doesn't believe women enough, and even puts them in these dangerous situations. What do you say to that? Not all men narrative. Like, what's your just? I'm curious about how should we be approaching this conversation that it becomes more inclusive.
Okay. So first of all, abuse or rape does not it doesn't focus on your gender. It would happen to you regardless of your gender. So why don't we no, let me answer this a different way. In Nigeria, for example, I think one of the major reasons why this has such a high rate of occurrence is because of our culture and our religion. Our religious practices and our cultural practices do not help at all. And the fact that men, especially, have this mindset that they are better than women, and especially in their marriages or just in the way they live their lives, men are superior, men own. It definitely propagates this culture of abuse greatly. But I'll just say, everyone is human. We're all human at the end of the day. Just be kind. I don't know. Just be kind. Be nice. Why are you seeing a child and thinking that you'll get off by sleeping
Hmm.
with this child? I don't understand it. Like, let's just rip off all the cultural differences that we have, or the religious differences. At the end of the day, if we do not identify with anything, we are human beings. They're children and they're adults. If a grown person sees a child that is helpless and feels like, I want to take advantage, you're sick. There's something wrong with you. Like, I'm not even gonna. It's really painful. It really
Hmm.
hurts. The stories that we hear really hurts. And then it's not. If you see a Christian pastor or a pastor and you're like, oh, this person cannot. That's not true. When I sat down with my dad and I told him the people that had tried to assault me even as an adult, and I named some people, he was so shocked that even his best friends rip everything off. Muslim, Christian, man, we are human beings at the end of the day. And everything
Hmm.
that happens to us has repercussions, it has consequences. Just be kind and just see each other as. Sorry, I get a little bit passionate when.
As human, it's okay. Definitely understand. Trust me, it gets to the point where you're trying to get through to people and you don't understand how they don't
it's, it's,
understand, but you still have to say
it's
it.
very infuriating.
So yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But that was a better podcast than
Wow.
I thought it could ever be. Honestly.
Yeah, that was I knew that it would be an important conversation, but I didn't expect how important. I think this is definitely the most
Yep.
important episode that we've done. So I'm hoping that there's no glitches or
Yep.
anything, because this is something that everyone needs to hear. As far as I'm concerned, It's a conversation that we didn't have enough. You know, we all went to the same school. We know that this wasn't talked about, and we know certain things went down to certain people that maybe could have avoided if we didn't just weren't afraid to have the
Definitely.
conversation because we think these kids are too young. And for that reason, if not anything else, for that reason, you know, I give you all the credit in the world for the work that you're doing because you are saving people. You know, think drop everything else.
Mhm.
You are impacting people's lives positively, and you know we need more people like you who are brave enough to tell your stories, but also help other people tell their stories. So
Added,
I am honored to know
added
you.
levels of
You know,
respect. I'm not even
like
joking. Like
honestly,
you have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you have no like it's again, like I said, it's obvious to me. There's this three of you that I see every time. I'm like, okay, these people have something special. I don't know what it is, but something about them just different. You, Kechi, and Wumi, and Yeminu. Um, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
but now every time I hear more about you, it's like, come on, like I don't know which group of
They're
friends would have helped
angels,
each other as much
basically.
as you guys did.
Oh
Like it
wow.
is no,
Oh
there's
wow.
no. The person we have to talk to is Yumi because Yumi has everybody's story in her head. I think everybody. So I really we need
Hmm.
to talk to her at some point. But like honestly, there's the respect I have for all three of you, especially like it's incredible. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank
Like for real, like
you. Thank you.
even if we didn't know you, this would be such a moving situation, but like it adds on to it from me because to think that we shared the same city for a few years. We didn't talk so much, and and I know people that even outside of our usual groups, and it's like wow, we have so many connections, but I didn't know all these things about you. So it's like for me, it's a little bit like oh, I should have been better, but at the same time, it's like okay, fine, at least you know everything she does makes sense now, and it makes sense to me. So thank you.
Thank
Essentially, is
you.
what I want to say. So thank you for
Thank you,
coming. It was a
Chimdi.
great pod.
Thank you, Chimdi.
Um, I think we have to wrap here, right, Bernie? I don't know if you
Yeah, yeah, guys, thank you. You know, if you love this content, recommend anyone you want to come on the show, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff that people say. Um, but yeah, we really hope that you guys enjoy this episode. We will put any information
yeah
about Imani Help Foundation in the show notes, in social media.
Thank you
Um,
guys.
yeah, Womiye, thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank you so much.
We
Have a
appreciate
good
you so
rest of your
much.
weekend and have a good week,
Thank
both of you.
you. Bye guys.
Welcome to the talk show.